Welcome to Fighting Back. News talk, current events, and political commentary with your host, Uncle Ronnie. And now, here's your host, Uncle Ronnie.
Well, welcome to another fine episode of Fighting Back. At any rate, tonight, guess what? We're mandated to wear our masks in Phoenix now, and so I'm wearing my mask. So if anybody wants to know what this is on my head, it matches my shirt, and I'm color-coded, and we're here for you to enjoy the show. Today we're going to do something a little different. I'm by myself here today because we have some guests that are on the line from a couple hundred miles south, just on the Mexican border in Santa Cruz County, and we'll get to them in just a moment. That would be candidate for the Arizona State Legislature, Deborah McEwen, and her campaign manager, Steve. In the second half of the show, we're going to have Neil DeSante, who is the candidate for mayor of the city of Phoenix, and we're excited to have him on the show. We're going to talk a little bit about some of the things that are going on there. And those of you that are concerned, yes, the COVID is, the numbers are going up. However, I want to make a distinction that's not being told to us, and I think we're being very confused about what's going on. And here's the scenario. There's a difference between having the virus and being ill, okay? If you test positive for having the virus, all it means is that you're carrying the virus. It may not affect you negatively. You may not be ill. And so that's one of the distinctions that I wish everybody would make out here. Additionally, there's another thing about this, and this is failing to be reported as well. The number of deaths is going down while the number of people with the virus is going up. Once again, do you have the virus or are you ill? And the numbers are going down, which means that the severity of if you do get sick, the severity, the possibilities of you becoming deceased, what a way to say that, becoming deceased is a far shot. Now, in Arizona, we've reported this all along. In all of Arizona, the percentages of death due to COVID-19 is 0.000189 out of 7.1 million people. That's not even 1%. Okay, now we lose more people through flu, pneumonia, tuberculosis, and just general items like smoking and so forth every year than we're losing through COVID. We've got probably about 1,400 people that are dead. That does not mean that this is not a serious illness, but we are changing our entire lifestyle around for this, and I don't believe we should. Now, I'm actually wearing this mask on my head because I know this is not the way you wear the mask. And here's why. There's a lot of conflict going on, if you will, between different parties in the state of Arizona. The more conservative people are saying, wait a minute, you're taking my rights away. You don't have the right to determine what I'm going to be doing, okay? What I'm going to be wearing, where I'm going to go, considering that I can't go into a store if I'm not wearing this, that, or the other, and it's not a good thing. Now, let's take a look at this. There's many of you know, and I've been trying to find the correct name for this device, and I think I have found it. It's a pulse oximeter. I think I've said that right. A pulse oximeter. When you go to a doctor, they put it on your finger, snap, and it goes right here, and it measures the amount of oxygen that's in your blood. Now, anything above 95% is good oxygenation. Excellent oxygenation is when you're at about 98.5 or above, you are very well oxygenated. Now, oxygen is what keeps our bodies healthy, and it gets rid of a lot of the diseases that we have. One of the things that we give off when we breathe oxygen is carbon dioxide. Now, here's the rub. We put these masks on, and we breathe carbon dioxide over and over and over. tests have been done on these masks, and a lot of people just say, I will not wear a mask. I'm one of them that I'm not real happy about wearing a mask, to be honest with you. I can't breathe well. I don't need carbon dioxide going into my system. There's tests that have run if you work and you're wearing one of these masks for 8 hours a day, 8 hours a day, your oxygenation of your blood is down to 86%. 86. Now, Medicare standards for obtaining oxygen tanks to help you breathe is 88. So if your blood oxygen levels are below 88%, you should be taking oxygen. And yet there are people here that are taking, they're at 86%. They're getting headaches. They're getting dizzy. We've had some people that have actually died from carbon dioxide poisoning. That's one of the reasons I will not wear a mask. And, you can blame me all day long, but I just will not wear one of these crazy masks because I personally cannot breathe well. We just went through this with Mr. George Floyd. I can't breathe, and I put this mask on, and I can't breathe. And I'm not going to want to walk around in a store wearing a mask where I get dizzy and possibly, I don't know that I would faint, but I'd probably want to sit down and get some fresh air before I moved forward. And so that's my little gig, and I'm sticking to it. We have something else that I want to do here it's kind of a crazy thing. If you've heard me complain, and we have an award that I'd like to give out. It's called the Doofus of the Day Award. And Mr. O'Connor, if you'd get the Doofus of the Day, we're sharing a Doofus of the Day, okay? And so Doofus of the Day number 1 is one of my favorite characters, and that is Andrew Cuomo. You got his picture? So now he goes out, besides being responsible for all of the deaths in nursing homes in New York, this doofus says taking down statues is a healthy expression of disappointments. So he's encouraging looters and rioters to take down equipment or statues that have been up for hundreds and hundreds of years. And the mobs have done that. They have taken it down, and they've ordered the police not to do anything, just to stand down. Well, in New York, there was a statue of Christopher Columbus, who a lot of people feel is the one who discovered America. That's controversial, but the Italian people just love him. He went and found the New World, supposedly. He was working for Queen Isabella of Spain, and he was an Italian explorer. Came to the United States. Now, he has a statue there, and of course, they say he didn't treat the indigenous people well, and history is history. Whether he treated them well or not is another story. The Italian people went up when they were going to tear the statue down, and they went to the statue, and they were willing to defend it with their strength and muscle. I don't know if they had rifles and so forth, but at any rate, they kept the statue up. So I don't see where a good exercise is destroying civilization, where if it makes you feel good. So Andrew Cuomo, once again, you are the doofus of the day, but you get to share this great honor with the following. Mr. O'Connor, do you have this? I wish I knew the name of this lady, because she's a serial killer, ladies and gentlemen. This little gal here, as you can well see, she's wearing a shirt that says, "I've had 21 abortions." That's enough to make you, I believe, doofus of the day, doofus of the century. You need to shackle her legs shut, if you ask me. Any rate, I don't know her name, and I wish I did, because that's pretty doggone sick. So I call her the serial killer, 21 unborn babies. So we're sharing that doofus of the day with Andrew Cuomo and this lady that has 21 lady. Mr. O'Connor's lady. You call that a lady? Some people would say that's a hoe. That is a hoe. And that, any rate, so whoever that is, shame on you, lady. Any rate, we're going to get to our, hang on here. What happened to the phone? Nothing's on the phone. It's totally blank. So we must have lost our callers. There's Mr. O'Connor. There's what Mr. O'Connor looks like. Ah, there it is. Okay. Steve? Hello? Hello? Can you bring that up, Mike? I can't. I'm having trouble hearing him, Mike. Okay, are you there, Deborah?
Yeah, we're both here. Can you hear us?
Okay, there. Go ahead. Talk to me. Steve?
Deborah and Steve
Okay,
are here for
gotcha.
you.
Yeah,
Okay, I'm going to put you on speakerphone. Let me know if that hurts the signal any, all right?
Yeah, I will. Okay, because you're both together, and I know it's kind of hard to share that. Can you talk to me?
Yeah, we're glad to be on your show. Can you hear us?
Okay, I can. Yes. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, this is a call that's coming from Santa Cruz County, and we're really excited here to talk to these folks because one. Santa Cruz County is a Democrat county for the most part, that area down there. It's a legislative district 2, and for years the Republicans have just given up on it. Now, those of you that are our regular listeners know how I feel about Democrats. They're socialists, actually. Today's Democrats do not exist under the guise of Democrat. They're actually socialists, and we got to do something about it. And so in that district down there, we have Deborah McCune, who has put her hat in the ring, and she's running for the legislature down there. And Steve is her campaign manager. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having us. It's nice to hear your voice, and we're ready for any questions you want to shoot at us.
Okay, we have your picture on the screen. The one we shot, they were in the studio yesterday. We did some work with them, and Santa Cruz County is, those of you that can see it, is a beautiful place. Very mountainous, very pretty, very green, much prettier than the desert around Phoenix. And we want to thank you, one, for running. Now, my first question is, why would you want to do this, recognizing the fact that the Democrats have controlled this seat for a long time?
Well, if you just simply take a look at the area down here, we are one of the poorest counties and districts in the state. And our education scores and assessments have been 78, I think, in the state for over 10 years, probably getting closer on to 20.
Oh, wow.
So just, looking at the economy and what's going on down here, I started questioning what is going on. We have a great border area here with produce coming across, and all I see in the downtown areas of Nogales are empty stores, empty businesses, very few people walking around and conducting business and life. So I started questioning what was going on and found that not a whole lot of anything was going on. So I did throw my hat in the ring to see how I could help the people down here, make it more prosperous, and make it just a friendlier border area to work in. We have a lot of crime that goes across the border. My opponents will tell you otherwise, but all you have to do is newspaper and look at the smuggling that goes on, the drugs that come across, and the crime rate in the area, and you will see quite a different story. So that's why I decided to run.
Well, this is excellent. I hear a little music here. I'm going to have to go to a break in just a minute, but I did want to say that is a beautiful area. Years ago, I used to love to go down there, and we would cross over into Mexico and have a good little time purchasing some of the Mexican products and so forth. And we want to, when we get back, I want you to tell me why the economy is so bad and what you believe we can do to improve it. We'll be right back. Don't go away. We're fighting back.
Ever wonder why the current leadership of Phoenix lacks growth, excitement, and a 21st century vision of a world-class city? I'm Neil DeSanti, running for mayor of the city of Phoenix, our beautiful capital of Arizona, where I was born and raised, went to school, and worked at many jobs. My background in business and industry has introduced me to a variety of fields which I believe will help me bring to this city a new level of wealth and prosperity. I'm just as concerned as you are that rapid growth must be properly managed to maximize the personal growth of our city and its residents. Expanding growth requires thoughtful management for the city, its residents, and future generations. If you share this same vision and agree it's time for a change, then please join me by supporting my candidacy for mayor of the city of Phoenix. Go online and sign my petition to provide the next generation of leadership for this rapidly expanding metropolis. Thank you for your support and signature. Candidate for mayor, City of Phoenix, I am Neil DeSanti, and I approve this message.
China is the oldest culture in the world, with a written history dating back some 3,500 years. And even 3,500 years ago, China's civilization was old. What do they attribute their longevity to? Healthy eating. Put some longevity in your life and enjoy fine Chinese cuisine at Yao's Restaurant at 2487 South Gilbert Road in Gilbert. For takeout and catering, call 480-899-0308. That's 480-899-0308. Yao's Fine Chinese Cuisine.
Trump Fridays is the place to be 6:30 every Friday at various locations throughout the Valley. Trump Fridays is a fantastic way to meet people who share your political views. Our grassroots organization was started to bring people together for a single common goal, to re-elect Donald Trump in 2020. We can't sit back and wait for the Republican Party to do the work for us. We need to fight to save our America. So, if you can't make the meeting every week, know that we're there every Friday and drop in whenever you can. Trump Fridays.
Sight is a very precious gift. If the quality of your eyesight is becoming a concern, see a world of difference at Family Eye Care Associates. With over a quarter century of experience in the Valley, Family Eye Care Associates offers complete diagnosis and treatment of cataracts, glaucoma, diabetes and dry eyes, and thorough retinal evaluations with dilated exams and retinal imaging. Specialized doctors, highly trained and certified technicians, licensed opticians, pediatric and geriatric care, contact lens fittings, and high-quality lenses and frames at prices you'll like. And as always, all of this comes with friendly, personalized service. We accept most insurances and have 2 convenient locations in both the East and West Valley. Give Family Eye Care Associates a call now. In Scottsdale, dial 480-419-3900. For the Glendale area, dial 602-843-2900. Family Eye Care Associates is a proud member of Vision Source, a network of premier eye care practices. Come home to the gated community of Chrisman Peaks and 5,350 square feet of pure luxury. Floor plans include 5 bedrooms, 5 baths, 4-car garage, home theater, even guest quarters. Breathtaking views are included at no extra charge. For more information, call 602-505-0004. Custom homes with the quality you expect, the value you demand. Call 602-505-0004 today. You're listening to Fighting Back. News talk, current events, and political commentary. And now here's your host, Uncle Ronnie.
Well, welcome back. As you can see, I'm all masked up. I'm wearing my mask and I can breathe real well. And we're on the phone here from Santa Cruz County with Deborah McEwen and her campaign manager, Steve. And when we last left them, we were asking why the economy has tanked down there. And so you've heard the question, Deborah. What's the cause?
You know, we have some potential areas that just have not been developed down here. In Santa Cruz County, we have a large tourism business in the wine area. People come all over the state down here on the weekends to enjoy our wine valley over in Sonoyta and go hiking and do all kinds of things. But there's no other real facilities there for them to enjoy while they're doing the wine valley. No other businesses over there. And generally in town, there are not a lot of shops and stores that are open. So the problem that we hear of all over the state, and especially down here in Santa Cruz County, is that people are lacking the education and the training to do higher paying jobs. So therefore, there are no higher paying jobs. And the way economy works is when you have a higher paying job, that brings more money into the homes, and then the families in the homes can spend money. They'll have leisure money to go shopping, go to movies, go out to dinner, and that will support the community, but that's not happening. So we have to start at the very basics down here and work with our provisional college and the workforce program and get some more businesses interested in joining a workforce program that's going to add more educational opportunities and training. So once we get that bolstered up, we need to attract some businesses down here. We have a whole border of produce companies that is nothing more than a logistics drop-off place. Once they come across the border, they drive on out on up into Tucson and Phoenix and all across the United States. So we need to make them pause and stop here at the border. And
so it's a port of entry, but not necessarily a recreational area for the farmers that are and the truckers that are crossing the border. Correct?
Right. Yes, and there are two lakes in the area where it could be, a nice recreational area, but it is just really a crossover border right now. And with the produce companies down there, we see a lot of waste that comes out of there. Fruit, vegetables that just are not going to make it across the United States into our stores on the West Coast or East Coast. And we need to develop some type of canning or freezing of fruit, of vegetables and things, and make it more of a manufacturing area.
What a great idea.
Keep these people in our area working. And then, you will bolster the economy. One of the projects that we're looking forward to is working with the Hermosa Mine, the South 32 project. They are doing a lot of, I would say, speculation and survey into the community. That mine is located over in the Patagonia area, and they anticipate in the future having about 400 to 600 jobs in this area. And they are a very progressive, scientifically based.
Don't say progressive. Don't say progressive.
And
that's a political comment.
So, in a good way. So, I'm very hopeful for the future and the economy and what we have to work with our workforce programs. And
Deborah, one of the things you talk about Patagonia, a beautiful little place, and the beautiful lake there. One of the things, a lot of people have seen it and they didn't know that they've seen it when that was when they did the movie from there, and there was a song. This was the movie Oklahoma, believe it or not. And I know you're fairly new down there, so you may not have known this. The old train station, which is really not much there anymore, there were train tracks and that. And they did the song "Everything's Up to Date in Kansas City" from that very site. And so when you see that was filmed in Patagonia. If you ever watched that movie, listen, you've got a marvelous background. Why don't you share a little bit of your background with us?
Well, Are you talking about my previous employment, my job?
Well, that would help, and why you're very well qualified to move into this position.
Sure. I was a forensic scientist, and I specialized in identification work and worked in a crime lab pretty much most of my adult life, and worked a lot with assessment and accreditation and making sure that the lab. Can you hear me?
I can.
Okay. And I worked a lot with accreditation and made sure the labs were working up to snuff and doing what they were supposed to do. And was an expert witness for many years, and in that line of work. And actually did a little TV show called The New Detectives. I had one episode on there for a case of mine that was highlighted. So I have a little TV time there.
How interesting! You need to share that with the voters in that area. You've got a phenomenal background. I'd like to shift over to your campaign manager, Steve. Are you there? Or did we put you to sleep? Okay. Now, I understand you guys are fairly new to Arizona. How long have you been here, and where are you from?
We've been here for several years now. We came from Montana.
Boy, cold country to the desert.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons we left.
You didn't like the cold country. I know. That drew me away from the Midwest as well. Well, at any rate, what got you down here? And tell us. You told me a phenomenal story about when you got down here. You took a look at this political situation down there on the border. This is an area that I think is just ripe for economic development. It's just phenomenal. Tell us how you got here, and then why you got interested in this.
That's a story I like to tell, Ron. When we made several trips down here and traveled all over Arizona, we just decided we wanted to come here, and we ended up down here because of Pina Blanca Lake and Patagonia Lake, and got into the Rio Rico area and just loved the people and the culture here. And after we got here, we live in a fairly rural area, and there's not a lot of people living around us. But the people that were here were so kind. I was just enthralled with the quality of life these people live and the golden rule they live by, but they didn't call it that. They wanted to do what they could for you, and they're very humble. And they have really strong family values, and I grew to love the people here immediately. And Deborah and I were politically involved in Montana before we left, and decided to be knowledgeable, and we're constitutionalists, and we got to go into the meetings and seeing what was going on here. And we're really disturbed by, I call it tyranny. I know that's a strong word, but the Board of Supervisors here don't represent. They pretty much rule.
Oh, wow.
And it upsets me a great deal. I go to a lot of their meetings. I'm not a favorite there. And after I got to know what was going on here, I just made it a commitment to learn more and more about how the politics ran in this area, and I became very disturbed. So I started my own club. I started going to all the other clubs. I did what I could to bring all the clubs together, and I'm pleased to announce that the president of the Sahuarita Green Valley Club has come to me and said, "Gee, what do you think about the idea of all the presidents of clubs getting together and putting a game plan together for the entire LD?"
Fantastic.
I couldn't be happier.
Are you the district chairman?
I'm the chairman of my own club, yes.
I know. Are you the district chairman as well?
No, I am not.
Okay. Gotcha. Well, it sounds like you got a real plan. I want to get back to Deborah. One of the things that I'm a real stickler on is because I think many of the problems that we have in our society today are based on education. And when I say that, it's not that the kids are not getting an education. There used to be the term liberal education when I was in school, and it didn't mean the same thing as it probably means today. When it was liberal, it meant a very broad education where you learned a lot of different things, humanities and sciences and so forth. Today, the liberal education I think, indoctrinate children. What are your plans or thoughts, at least, on the school systems?
Well, I hate to say that maybe this COVID virus was a blessing for the education system, because if it did nothing else, it woke people up to the various opportunities that they have to educate their children in a variety of different ways that are more beneficial for the children, whether it's homeschooling, charter schools, online courses. It's just an amazing buffet of education that they will have to choose from now on. This fall will be a challenge while everybody gets together and gets their kids online and hooked up with this physical distancing and things like that. But once we get things smoothed out, I think you will see the children just blossom with more opportunities and information that they can pull out of these new ways of learning. School choice is very important, and it also gets the parents involved in what their kids are doing. That was the big disconnect. I don't know if you know it or not, but they just passed a rule here for parental rights. Now, did you ever think in your lifetime that we would have a law that would have to write a law to support parental rights?
No, you wouldn't think so, would you?
Yeah, I didn't think. When did parents ever give up their rights?
I don't think we did, but they took them away.
That's right. And shame on all of us for letting that happen. And it's time parents get back involved in their children's life and their education, find out what the curriculum is, and if it doesn't suit your ethics and morals and your lifestyle and where you want you and your family to be, then we need to have the opportunity to speak up and move our children out of federally funded schools and into a safer, healthier, and just more expansive education opportunity for them.
I could not agree more with you on that. I was shocked when in Washington, D.C., when Obama was president, that they had a voucher system. Washington, D.C. is probably about 90% black, and a lot of the poor black kids go to these schools that are failing, and the parents have had the vouchers where they could begin to move them into better schools, and then Obama took it away and did away with vouchers. And now you've got, and that's one of the reasons I think we have a lot of problems in our school system today. There are very bright young children, but they're in schools that are failing them.
Yes, there's a lot of bullying and violence that goes on in the schools, a lot of intimidation, a lot of pressure for the kids to conform and act ways that they probably wouldn't normally act. Even if they come from a good family, a good home base, some of those kids just don't have a chance.
Now you get a lot of kids from Mexico that cross the border to go to school there?
Oh, yes. I was sitting in on a webinar on education here just a week or so ago, and when the COVID hit and they closed the schools and sent the kids home, they were trying to stay in touch with them so they could give them laptops and internet service so they could do online schooling. And across the state of Arizona, they lost touch with about 20,000 students.
Oh, wow.
And a lot of that was probably they went back across to Mexico to stay with their families during the COVID and lost communication.
Oh, that's terrible.
Yeah.
That's
So
a terrible
that
thing.
Was, yeah.
Listen,
And then
we're gonna run short of time here, real quick. How do people get a hold of you? You have a website, a phone number, or both?
Yes, they can visit my website, please. It is mcewen4az.com. And my email is mcewen4azld2@gmail.com.
Okay,
McEwen
one more time.
is-
Spell McEwen. It's up on the screen, but it's not one of those words that a lot of people spell. There's names here. It's really funny because our next guest is going to be DeSanti. I always marvel at people that have two letters in their last name that are capitalized. Like our board operator here is Mr. O'Connor. I'm the loser here. You guys. DeSanti has D and S are capitalized. You have M and E, and Mr. O'Connor has O and C, and I just have one. I feel left out. But spell that again. What's that? Yeah, he's even got an apostrophe. Go ahead. Spell McEwen out.
Okay. MCEWEN for az.com.
There you go. McEwen4az.com. That's the letter or the word or both?
That's the number 4.
The number 4. Okay, excellent. And try to get a hold of them. Can we have you? You're not in a primary fight, so your election is not until November. Can we have you on again? I'd like to know how things are going along the process. Would you like to come back?
I will be on the primary ballot. I just don't have any tender, so.
Excellent. And
Yes.
and she is a candidate of Dr. Bob Branch with the Power of Fives, and this is an exciting project as well. And Steve and Deborah, we like to thank you for being on the show tonight. I know it goes pretty doggone fast. There's a lot more questions, but we'll get to you again in the future, very near future. And good luck in getting your name out there. I know that you've already won the primary, but it's nice to get your name out there and see how many people can put a mark next to your name and go from there. Thank you so much for being on the show tonight. And Mr. O'Connor, you have a very special thing you want to run right now on Mr. George Floyd. Thank you again.
George Floyd's story has been the story of black folks.
Unfortunately, this is true. George Floyd has a long criminal history, and too many black folks have chosen a life of crime and violence. Our jails are filled with them. People who follow a path filled with crime and violence usually meet with an untimely death. Here now is the long and violent criminal history of George Floyd. At the time of his death, George Floyd was reportedly calling for his mother, not asking Jesus for redemption.
Ever since 401 years ago, the reason we could never be who we wanted and dreamed to be in is you kept your knee on our neck.
And after 401 years, Reverend Al Sharpton is just bringing this to your attention now. That's because there is no knee on your neck. On February 1st, 1865, President Abraham Lincoln approved the joint resolution of Congress, the 13th Amendment, formally abolishing slavery in the United States of America. Then Republicans stepped in again, helping the blacks with the 14th Amendment, awarding them citizenship, and also with the 15th Amendment, granting black men the right to vote. There's no knee on anyone's neck. Oprah Winfrey is the richest black woman in the world with $2.7 billion. Aliko Dangote is the richest black man in the world with $10.9 billion. Here are just a few creative black males who made it. Here are some creative black females who made it. Here are some creative black groups that made it. How about the Tuskegee Airmen? Garrett Morgan, born of a slave, was one of the greatest inventors of all time. July 1916, Garrett Morgan rescued 8 people from the Lake Erie crib disaster with an invention called the Morgan National Safety Hood. Garrett is also responsible for straightening hair, gas masks, modern sewing machines, and traffic signal lights. Reverend Al Sharpton is a liar and a cheat. He tells blacks that they are victims. By repeating that over and over, blacks believe it. Subsequently, blacks become imprisoned by their beliefs. They acquire a defeatist attitude and give up saying, I can't dream, I can't aspire, I can't become, because there's a knee on my neck. Reverend Al Sharpton has cheated you out of your success. So dream big, become whatever you want to be. There's no knee on your neck.
Well, welcome back, and I'd like to thank Mr. O'Connor for putting that together. It's a real sad scenario that happened here. Nobody appreciated it. The police officer that was involved in this tragic death should be punished. But what has happened since then should not. The Black Lives Matter movement, tearing down rioting and tearing down statues and so forth. And I'm going to tell you something. It sounds like it's a black movement, doesn't it? Black Lives Matter. But if you look at most of the footage of people rioting and tearing things down and busting store windows over and setting fires, guess what? They're whites. There's a lot of white people, young white people, and it's really sad. And the police, the cities that these riots are occurring in are cities that have Democrat mayors and Democrat governors. And so, ladies and gentlemen, it's this pervasive attitudes that Democrats have. If you do not punish people for wrongdoing, you will get more wrongdoing. At any rate, I'd like to introduce today Neil DeSante. Neil, welcome to the show.
Hey, Ron. I don't know what the wrongdoing in me have to do with anything, but I hope that wasn't
not aimed at you. It was just my transition from Mr. O'Connor's great piece that he put together. Neil's running for the governor. We did see a little bit of a commercial there, but I want you to reiterate one that where you're from.
Well, I'm an Arizona native. Lived in Phoenix all of my life. Went to school, grade school, middle school. Well, it was called back then. It was called junior high school. So they seem to want to change it to middle school. I don't know why. But in high school, I also attended 1 year of college of business management. And unfortunately or fortunately, while I was doing that, I've already set up a couple of my own businesses. So I found out that the professor was basically teaching theory than they were teaching real life experiences. So I kept trying to tell, the professor, no, that's not how it's working out today.
That's not how it does in reality.
And he's going, well, this is what we're teaching, So I have that.
How come you're not wearing a mask like I am?
Well, because I don't believe in the mask, to be honest with you. Hold on. I have a medical condition.
And what's that? You can't breathe, right?
Oh, you're not supposed to ask that.
Oh, of course. There's laws against that. HIPAA laws. Can't ask. Well,
HIPAA laws,
at any rate, we don't have a lot of that disease out here, and I think one of the things that is creating a little bit of a stir right now is everybody's inside because, believe it or not, it's about 110 outside, and that's approximately, for those of you that are on Celsius, it's 43.3 degrees outside, and people go inside, and if anybody has it, the cooling systems just recirculate the air over and over and over. Any rate, tell me what caused you to want to be the mayor of the city of Phoenix?
Well, I found out that there wasn't a conservative candidate for mayor, so I've asked the Republican Party time and time again, who's our representative, who's going to be our candidate. They're thinking that at this time the mayor wasn't even up for election. So I suspended my campaign in the corporation commissioner because once again there was like 13 candidates. Many of them were okay, in my opinion. They weren't as good as I would have been. But so the field was full, and being that the fact that there wasn't any conservatives running for mayor at the city of Phoenix, I decided to suspend the one campaign and get into the campaign of running for city of Phoenix mayor. And that's what I did. So that's where I'm at right now.
Well, we have, believe it or not, while Arizona is a conservative state, the city of Phoenix has a lot of liberal people, and the current mayor being one of them. Care to comment on the juxtapose your position from her to yourself and some of the key issues of the city?
Well, as we know lately, she does not back up law enforcement. As we saw her go on TV and basically tell the rioters, and I'm not calling them protesters because they were rioters and looters, that, she understood their means and their feelings and their cause and all that other mushy stuff, which to me encouraged them just to do more. And they did do more. They did 14 more days more of stuff. And nobody, stood up to them or told them to quit. Even the police chief, Jerry Williams, I believe her name's Jerry Williams, stood up there, and we all saw her, said that she would walk with the protesters in unity as long as they became civil and they stayed civil. Well, I believe that the mayor should have came up and at least told those people, first of all, she should have backed up the law enforcement, and she didn't seem to have that whatsoever. That would have been the one thing. And then second, I would have had the protesters at least apologize for doing all the destruction they did, breaking into people's businesses and destroying their businesses, innocent business owners. Have them apologize for doing that, and also for assaulting my police officers. Not mine, but the mayor should have said that for the police officers. That didn't happen, nor does people think that that would have happened, because of the fact that they're just, they seem to act like spoiled children that didn't get their way, so they decided that they wanted to break things until they got their way. That's just my opinion, but I'm sure a lot of people have that same opinion.
We just got a text here for some breaking news regarding police. Here's the news. The Tucson chief of police just resigned due to a death in his jail 2 months ago. The person who had died had an enlarged heart from cocaine use. Interesting.
Wow.
No. I think one of the strengths of the city of Phoenix has been a very, very good police department. Also fire. I think our first responders are amongst the best in the nation. They've just gotten a couple of bum raps, and I think the city council has way overreacted when they set up this police review board.
The citizens oversight committee.
Yeah, and here's the thing: we already have a citizens oversight committee. It's called the city council. So they just authorized $3 million, I believe.
Yes, it was. It was three. It's actually they approved the budget. They approved funding the police, law enforcement, and they increased the budget up to $3 million to fully fund the Citizens Oversight Committee.
What seems to be happening here with these different committees that various towns are, let's not fund the police, let's defund the police, let's watch everything the police do. We want good officers. There's no question about that. And I think we have one of the. I've never ceased to be amazed when it comes time for some. If you let the police do their job, they do a good job. Now, I was a little unhappy recently when the police chief, Jerry Williams, has done an excellent job, but when they got in there and she took a knee, and with the Black Lives Matter, you don't take a knee, you don't bow to people, you just say, we're the authorities here, you have every constitutional right, and we're going to guarantee that you get those rights.
Right, that's basically what I was talking about. I would not allow my police chief to do that. under those circumstances and the conditions that happened before that, prior to that.
And there were some looting in that, not anywhere close to what's going on in most towns and so forth. We have a mayor here that the prior mayor as well, who is now a congressman, was an.
I think he's in the Senate.
No,
is he not in the Senate?
No, he's in the House of Representatives, District 9.
We are talking about Greg Stanton.
Greg
right?
Stanton.
Okay.
He was another one. He did not like the police. They did not like him. And once again, Stanton was a Democrat. Now, this is a nonpartisan election, is it not?
It is. It's a nonpartisan election, so we could get signatures from both parties.
And how do we get you on the ballot?
Well, first of all, you either come down to 3238 East Bell Road, my headquarters for now, and sign my petition in person, or you can go to my Facebook page, get up one of my posts. I have the link to my online petition. You can go online, sign my petition. I need it done quick because the due date is July 6th, 2020, which is just down the road. I'm doing pretty good, but I do need your help. I need your help, and I need you to do something right away because I'm gonna do something what Trump said. What do you have to lose to vote for me, put me on the ballot? Think about what we're going to have to lose, because we need actually a strong leader that's not going to be intimidated by the minority, because that's what it is. It's the minority. We're the majority, and we have let the minority basically take control, which is just baffles me how we have not stood up and said enough is enough. You guys, no, sit down, knock it off, act right, be responsible. I don't know why we're doing that. So if we don't have a strong leader, which apparently we do not, as the mayor of the city of Phoenix, we need one. I'm a strong leader. I'm not going to be intimidated by, like I just said, the left. And people who know me, I have a real easygoing side, and that's because I don't take a lot of things serious enough to where I'm not going to be so crazy where I can't think straight. You always got to have your mind. You always got to be thinking straight in order to solve problems. If you don't, then I don't know where you're going to be able to solve those problems.
Even though the government here is a nonpartisan government, it leads very left, very liberal. And it's the thing that's so sad about this is they do things with our money that are crazy. Like a couple of years ago, they gave I guess it was $1 million or $1.5 million they gave to an organization called Promise Arizona, which is a Latino activist group. They did everything right according to how they give the money to the group.
Right.
But it was unethical to give them the money. It's a political action group. And the thing that they wanted them to do is go down in South Phoenix and talk to business owners about the light rail that they were trying to put in.
You're right, down central, because all the business owners already saw what the light rail did uptown, well, I would say downtown.
Destroyed a lot of businesses.
Right. It did. Also along Camelback, when they did that, they got rid of a lot of businesses and a lot of buildings that were on the south side of Camelback between 7th Street, 7th Avenue and Central. On that south side of that.
Put a lot of business. I do. I
they,
remember there were some mighty fine restaurants there. There was some rather large grocery stores in that particular area.
Yeah, they just mowed them all down.
They've essentially closed up, and we can't afford to do that now. Now we're putting the light rail in South Phoenix, and once again we're going to be closing businesses down at a time when we can least afford businesses to close down.
Yeah, that's what they're discussing, but I believe that I haven't seen any meetings that I know about what the progress of that has been. I don't know if they've just kind of stopped that discussion or not, but I'll look into it.
I haven't been down there. Have they started the I want to say destruction. Have they started the construction? I think to construct they need to destruct, and that's a sad thing.
If I remember, and I'm trying to think, if I remember right, I thought that the business owners went down there and actually threw up a pretty good argument of them not to go down South Central and destroy that business. But once again, I'll look into that. I'm sure there's somebody that, if you guys know what actually happened down in South Phoenix, go ahead and call 602-475-9844 and let us know what if if we're not telling you right, let us know what you heard of or have heard or know. I guess that would be the best, right, Ron?
Yeah. No. The city is the fourth largest city, I believe. Fifth.
Fifth. I think it's
largest city
yes.
in the United States, and it's a beautiful city. For those of you that have never been to Phoenix, it's a beautiful, beautiful city, and it's being destroyed once again by these lefty ideas. Taxation is increasing. There's things that the government thinks that they need to be involved with, including education. And education is always a problem. We spoke a little while ago with Deborah McEwen, a candidate in LD2, about education. And we seem to indoctrinate kids today. We don't educate them. It's amazing, Neil, when we talk about Black Lives Matter and they tear down statues, and they tear down the statue of Abraham Lincoln, which was the very man that fought a war. We're the only nation in the world that has fought a war to set people free.
Yep.
Millions and millions of people free. And folks, it was the Republican Party. I don't care what you hear or what you believe, but it was the Republican Party. And
that was the Civil War.
It
wasn't the French-American War. Nope. It wasn't the Canadian standoff.
The 14th Amendment, which gave blacks citizenship in the United States, not a single Democrat voted for that. And the 15th Amendment, not a single Democrat voted to give blacks the right to vote in America. Think about that. And yet you ask the average person on the street, they have no idea. Why? Because they don't teach history anymore. Not the truthful history.
No, that's a damn shame. I think that education, they should bring back in their curriculum the basics. Reading, writing, arithmetic, social studies,
and
science and history.
And
that gives an individual the tools they need to become a more productive and rounded citizen in the community and in society.
And we have, like I said, we have a beautiful city, and we have one of the prettiest states I have ever been in. It has 3 temperate zones in out of the 5 temperate zones in the world. We have 3 of them in our state, from desert to high mountains. Yeah. We have snow. Yeah. There's snow in some of them, and then in the you can go swimming in the morning.
Swimming in the morning and skiing
in the afternoon,
or vice versa.
Yeah.
You can go up skiing real early in the morning, about 1 o'clock, come back home here into the valley,
and take a
jump
dip
in your pool, and get a suntan.
It's an amazing place. And once again, how you have a website people can go to?
I have a Facebook page, and I also have Facebook. On Twitter, my Facebook page is Neil DeSanti, as you can see, then spelled just on my name. And my Twitter page is actually DeSanti4 FORAZ, and that's the Twitter. And then my email is DeSanti4 Arizona AZ, DeSanti4AZ @gmail.com, and that's DeSantiForaz @gmail.com.
Okay, excellent. We only have about a minute or so left, and I wanted to just talk about 2 things real quick. Well, I'm going to talk one. Is LeBron James. He's a basketball hero, and he says that he will not play basketball if the national anthem is played. Okay, well, I guess you're going to sit the season out, or if you do don't sit the season out if they don't play. I'm going to sit the season out because the national anthem's important. Mr. O'Connor, thank you for a wonderful job tonight. Your video was marvelous. We're going to put that up on Facebook. Make it go viral. It's something that needs to be said. Black kids just need a little extra boost in their morale to say, I can do anything anybody else can. We'll see you again next week on Fighting Back.
Thank you for having me, Ron.
You bet.